Hi, my name's Greg, and I'm going to be changing the rear tire on my BMW F800GS. Today we're going to be using the following tools. We're going to be using some cargo straps, tire irons, 13mm box wrench, 24mm socket wrench, a number 30 Torx wrench, a valve core wrench, some lubricant, and a tire pump. Okay, first things first, we have to get our bike onto the center stand and secure it. Anytime that you work on your bike with the center stand, you should always make sure that you run a strap from your center stand to a hard point or the front tire on your motorcycle to ensure that you don't fall over. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove the ABS sensor. That's very important anytime that you remove the rear wheel, that you always put the pull the ABS sensor and get out of the way. And we'll just put that out of the way. Next, we're going to loosen up the chain adjusters on both sides. Now that I have my chain adjusters loose, I'm going to loosen the rear axle with my 24mm socket wrench. I prefer to use work gloves whenever I'm working on my motorcycle. Keeps your hands clean. Okay, so we're going to put these aside and we're going to try and keep them in the order that they were in so we don't forget. And then we just remove the axle. Here's another view from the other side. And it comes straight out. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is loosen the chain. Okay, there's a spacer that you saw fall out. Make sure that you again remember the order that this goes in so that when you put your tire back on, you can see the spacer fits right there. Okay, I'm going to remove the sprocket. Just wiggle that straight out. That comes out very easily. And again, we're going to just inspect it. This one is starting to get a little bit worn. About 24,000 miles on this one. And while I'm at it, whenever I take my tire off, I always check the bearings. There has been some problems with bearings in the past. In fact, this particular tire or this wheel had to have the bearings replaced. But as I run my finger through this, it feels fine, and this has about 10,000 miles on these bearings. So I think we're feeling pretty good here. And we'll take the spacers out as well. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get all the air out of the tire so that we can remove the old tire. And that's where this tool comes in handy. Okay, we're also going to be using a 12mm box wrench to loosen up the bolt that holds the valve stem in place. Okay, so you're on the side of the road. Your biggest challenge is going to be getting that tire off the rim. I'm going to show you a technique that was taught to me by a world-renowned adventure motorcyclist. So you might recall that I secured the center stand and the side stand with my cargo straps. Again, an important reason that the bike is stable, the center stand isn't going to fall if I push on the motorcycle. And I'm using that side stand, that's going to be my lever in order to break the seal. So I'm going to start working away from the valve stem. So I'm going to position my side stand. Now you can see that with my side stand I have it modified. I have welded a larger footprint onto that. You can buy aftermarket footprints that bolt on, but I prefer it a little bit more permanent, so I had this welded on. Cost me $30. And I'm going to carefully use the bike's weight by leaning the bike over on its center stand and using the side stand as a fulcrum to push down on the tire. Now look how easy that bead broke. Do this 1-2 more times and you'll be done. Make sure that you do both sides. Just takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, and there you go. Okay, now it's time to get into removing the tire from the rim. As you recall, I brought some lubricant. This is just plain old WD-40. It's a penetrant, so this will work very well. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of lubricant. Now I'm gonna work away from my valve stem, starting from the opposite side. That easy. Okay, so now that I have this loose, I can reach in and remove the tube. Again, you're not going to be able to do this unless you remove the core out of the tube. The valve through, and there we go, and here's my tube. I'm going to inspect this. I got a little bit of corrosion around the base of the valve stem, nothing I'm too worried about. I'm going to reuse this tube. Some people will say you should replace your tube any time that you replace your tire, but I look at this tube, it's in very good condition. So why change it if it's not broken? Okay, so now that I have one side loose, I'm going to do the other side. And there she goes. One person by themselves removed the tire from the rim. So here's my new tire. As you can see, I'll put these side by side. This one is obviously more worn. Brand new tire. Get ready to go and hit the trails and climb hills with confidence. The first thing you have to remember is the rotation. Which way the tire rotates and how it gets mounted to the rim. So what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for an arrow that shows me which way that this tire is designed to rotate. Okay, I don't see it on this side. Flip it over, and here we go. Okay, so there it is, and it's pointing going this way. So I'm going to mount this to the rim, making sure that I've got the sprocket side on the correct side and the disc rotor on the correct side. First thing we do, lubricate. And I just kind of jam it in there. Look at that. One kick and it's in.